It was a hot summer night, and my mom's apartment felt more suffocating than usual. She had just separated from my dad, and we were still trying to adjust to this new routine, with the separation and the unfamiliar atmosphere. I was only 4 or 5 years old, but the memories from that time are vivid, as if they happened yesterday. That night, my mom had left the window open in her room, which usually brought a bit of freshness to the air. But that night, the wind felt strange, almost as if it were whispering words that no one else could hear. The sound was low but incessant, like something was trying to communicate. I usually slept in my own room, but I always preferred to curl up in my mom's bed when I stayed with her. I felt safe there, like nothing bad could happen as long as she was near. And that night, something happened. I woke up in the middle of the night and, sitting up, I noticed something was wrong. The room was darker than usual, as if the moonlight had been blocked by a shadow. My eyes focused on my mom's door, which was slightly open, and there was our cat, something rare, because he was always with us in bed. He was standing there, staring at me, his white eyes glowing in the dark. A look that seemed human. The cat, as if calling me to follow, started walking into my room. My eyes followed its steps until it stopped at my door and stared at me with an unsettling intensity. Its meow sounded more like a whisper than the typical cat sound. Something was wrong. I tried waking my mom by turning to her and tapping her shoulder. She woke up immediately, with a confused look on her face. She asked me what was going on, but before I could answer, we both looked back at the door. What we saw froze the blood in our veins. There, in the doorway, was a man. His body was distorted, as if made of shadows with blurred outlines, but his eyes were fixed on us, as if he knew exactly who we were, as if he had been watching us for a long time. The man took a step into the room, and when I turned to look at my mom, something in her changed. It was no longer just fear on her face. It was pure panic. In an instinctual move, my mom grabbed me with unnatural strength and pulled me toward the window, almost without thinking. She shoved me outside, in a way that seemed like she had been trained to save a life in an instant. The impact was light, but the fear still lingered in the air, as if the very ground was trembling beneath our feet. I barely had time to realize what was happening before I heard his voice, low, dragged out, coming from inside the apartment. "You shouldn't have gone out. Not yet. Not before seeing me." The police didn't find anything in the apartment. No signs of forced entry, no fingerprints, nothing. The only strange detail was that the front door had been unlocked. What terrified me even more was that my mom swore she had locked the door that night, with both the deadbolt and the chain lock. The feeling that the man had been inside all along, hiding, watching, never left me. A few days later, my mom was cleaning the water heater closet and found something strange. A notebook, old and stained, with names of people I recognized but didn't know how. But there was more. Drawings, distorted images of houses, trees and shadows, and in the back of it all, a word that made my blood run cold: return. On top of the notebook, there were a pair of gloves, dirty with dirt, and some crumpled wrappers. It seemed like the man had been hiding there for much longer than we imagined. But the most unsettling part was the smell. When my mom picked up the gloves, the smell of something decaying and rotting began to fill the house. And then the cat appeared again in the kitchen doorway, its eyes now completely black, as if it were possessed, staring directly at the notebook. The following weeks were a nightmare of insomnia and fear, and although we never found any logical explanation, I always felt that something was waiting to return. Something that wasn't entirely out of our world, but lurking in the shadows. And the window? Well, it was never left open at night again. The wind still seemed to whisper, but now, every night, it said the same thing: return.